Yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bum. Oh yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye, yai bye bye bye, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bye. Oh yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bim bum. Yai bye bye, yai bye bye bye, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bye. Oh yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye, yai bye bye bye, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bye.
One more time.
Yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye, yai bye bye bye, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bye. Oh yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye, yai bye bye bye, yai bye bim bum, yai bye bye bim bum, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bye. Welcome everybody. It's so good to see real people in front of us rather than just looking at the screen over here or wherever. Right there, right now, yeah. It's so nice. So welcome everyone to Temple Emanu-El, and welcome everyone who's joining us online to Temple Emanu-El. My name is Rabbi Max, here with Rabbi Rachel. Behind the scenes is Stephen Blick, controlling all of the electronics, and we are so pleased to have everyone here in our online synagogue. If you're joining us there, you will find the prayer book pinned to the top of the Facebook feed, but all of you here, you will have sidurim that you've hopefully picked up on the way in or that are already underneath your chairs, and so that as we call out the page numbers, you will be able to follow along with us throughout our service. In case of anyone was not aware of the procedures, we keep masks above nose and mouth for the remainder of the service. We are not wearing them because we are, I don't know, it gets longer every time we say it, but 30-something feet away from everybody else so that we can remain unmasked and sing and not have to breathe in so heavily. And then if for any reason we need emergency exits, there are over to your wing over there and to the wing behind you and to the emergency exit behind you there. There are no flotation aids or devices.
That's a good addition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, make sure you turn off all your smartphones, smartwatches, so that nothing gets in the way of us praying together, so that we can breathe in and out, and that we can relax and not be distracted by anything going on in the outside world, except for us here around this kehillah, this congregation. And a special mazel tov to the B'nai Mitzvah families, Ari and Jack Goldberg, and Carly Love. We are so happy and so excited for y'all to become B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow morning and evening. It'll be a really great, great ceremony. So let's take a moment, turn to the people around you, wave to people across the congregation, wish everyone Shabbat Shalom as we sing a little more Yai Bye Bim Bam.
Yai
Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye, Yai Bye Bye Bye, Yai Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye Bye, Yai Bye 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 Bye. Oh Yai Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye, Yai Bye Bye Bye, Yai Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye Bim Bam, Yai Bye Bye Bye, Yai Bye 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 Bye.
Yai
Bye bim bam, yai bye bye bim bam, yai bye bim bam, yai bye bye, yai bye bye bye, yai bye bim bam, yai bye bye bim bam, yai bye bye bye, yai bye 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 bye.
All right, friends, so let's take a minute, feel those feet on the floor, perhaps our back against the chair if we can reach. Wherever you are in your home, sitting comfortably, I'll invite you to go ahead and close your eyes as we try to leave everything that we were doing in the week up until this very moment. We're going to take a little breath, a few breathing exercises to truly leave the week behind and enter Shabbat together. So deep breath in, let it out. The rest of that week we're holding, we We'll blow it out on this deep breath. Deep breath in. You let it out. This final breath. Let us enter Shabbat. Deep breath in and let it out. I invite you to open your eyes. And we'll turn to page 120. If you haven't lit your candles yet at home, we'll invite you to do so with us at this time. So we're on page 120. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kinishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Please be seated.
Join together. When I turn my microphone on Shalom Aleichem, page 142, welcoming us further into our service.
Shalom
Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So I was doing a little studying this week, preparing for that class I'm teaching on what I call it, prayer book refresher, because we're starting to be back in person and finally holding prayer books again. And I was doing some research on Lechadodi, and we often, the rabbis, we talk about the story about the guys in Tzfat going out to greet the Sabbath bride, and that bride being a metaphor for God. But what I actually didn't know about it, I just thought they kind of danced with God in the fields. But really, they're going out to literally bring God back with them into the synagogue. And it's a beautiful metaphor for us, too, that sometimes we have to go out in our community and bring people back to share the love that emanates from our space. So with that in mind, a little Lechadodi, page 138.
Lechadodi
Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Lechadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el ha-meyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad V'shemo tiferet v'litehila
Lechadodi
Lechadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Lechadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki lekor haberacha Merosh mikedem nesucha
סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבל. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבל.
We rise and face the door, or the entrance to our home. בואי ושלום,
עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
לך דודי, לך
דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We remain standing, Baruch Hu, page 146. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Friends, we continue bringing on the evening. If we knew it wasn't going to be a bit too chilly outside, we would literally have the chance to watch the sunset, and so you'll have to come back on a warmer night.
Or stay here longer.
Or stay here longer
And bring your coat.
to watch that sunset. Roll into dark, not found in your prayer books. Roll into
To dawn, roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla. Golel or mipnei choshech. Golel or mipnei choshech. V'choshech mipnei or.
roll into dark.
Roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day.
Day turns to night.
We feel our feet steady on the ground, our shoulders back and proud as we turn to page 152 for words of Shema, concentrating on the words of the page or closing your eyes and praying those innermost thoughts as we sing these words together.
Shema
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Join together with V'ahavta on page 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
On page 158, we have words of Micha Mocha. And there's a part of the prayer, if you look at the English, where it says, "Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam." And I'm sort of struck this Shabbat, this week, thinking about all of the children who are getting ready to, teens, who are getting ready to finish out a year of school, and an impossible year of school. And I think that they're sort of, just like their parents maybe, and the rest of us are looking for that splitting sea, that miraculous thing that's going to happen, or perhaps that we help to create, that is going to move us from feeling that enslavement of Egypt and into that freedom of the promised land. So Micha Mocha, page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושי פלא, נורא תהילות עושי פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Yai lai nai 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 yai nai 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 yai nai nai yai nai 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 yai nai nai nai. On page 161, we join together in the bottom of the page in this English reading, asking for what Hashkivenu is a promise of, to have that protection, that shelter, when times are perilous, when we're unsure of what lies ahead of us. We pray these words that God protects us, that we protect one another as we lie down to sleep, as we wake up, and throughout the days. We join together in these words at the bottom of the page. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
On page 162, we have our evening prayer for Shabbat v'Shamru, which is extra relevant this week, the Torah portion being Bahar B'chukotai, and in it is Shemitah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where you're going with that.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is letting the land lie or rather that you till. Is that the word I need?
You don't till.
No, you till first.
Yeah, you till first.
Yeah, that you till for 6 years and that you can work the land. That's what I'm looking for. So you can work the land for 6 years, and on the 7th year, that is the Shemitah year, and that's the year that you have to let the land rest. Shabbat, the rest of the week, 6 days, we're working, and then we're supposed to rest. So not only is it applied to a weekly basis, it's applied to a yearly cycle, and that cycle is for the earth. And if the earth needs to rest, how much more so probably do we need to set aside some of that time to rest? And we can do so happily with a little Vishamru.
Page 162.
Vishamru
v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Good Shabbos. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Good Shabbos. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam.
Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Good Shabbos. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et
Haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam.
Uvayom hashvi shavat v'inafash, shavat v'inafash,
Shavat v'inafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. So 100 years ago, there was a man in Germany named Franz Rosenzweig. We would probably say Rosenzweig if we're here in America. A man, I would guess, who is not familiar to most of us before hearing his name just right now, but I promise that's not going to be the case after the next few minutes. You see, Franz Rosenzweig is responsible for the way that we Reformed Jews engage with Judaism today. For 2,000 years or more, just about, we approached our sacred scriptures, Torah, prophets, writings, Mishnah, Gemara, the whole Megillah, everything, as if we sat inside a house and these books were the walls and the windows to protect us and to frame how we should see our world. Instead, Rosenzweig was the sort of Jewish Copernicus. He flipped the Jewish point of view of his time and proposed a method of study that was almost the exact opposite. Rather than using our sacred scriptures as the lens through which we see the world, Rosenzweig put the Torah at the center, the sun, the light of our universe, and he said that we must take ourselves and all of our lived experiences and bring them into the study of Torah. We do this each and every time we study the words and teachings of our ancestors today. We take what we know, what we've experienced, and we bring it to Torah, and we allow one another to learn from each of our experiences reflected from the light of Torah. 250 years ago, our ancestors knew nothing of having multiple identities: American, Jewish, straight, gay, black, white, left-handed, ambidextrous. Jewish was everything that defined any notion of identity. When the world began to open up to the Jewish people, we Jews developed identities beyond what existed in the shtetls and in the ghettos of Europe. As a result, Jews have moved outside of the walls of our sacred scriptures, and now we look at the house from the outside. We must approach Torah as if it is the heart, and it tells us what it means to be a Jew. This point of view, which, unless you live in one of the cloistered, ultra-Orthodox communities, is one that we all share. We've all been living this version of Torah for most, if not all, of our lives up until this point. However, studying Torah with this kind of mindset is what makes relating to the text so difficult. Sometimes it can be sterile. There was a movement in Germany that has a great name in German that we all memorized in rabbinical school that's called Wissenschaft des Judentums. It's a great word. I don't think it's going to come up on any kind of standardized test, but you can say it with me. Wissenschaft des Judentums. It's fun. It means the scientific study of Judaism. And it can leave this sort of approach to Judaism kind of sterile when you look at it from your own outside experiences, not feeling Torah with you wherever you go. Take, for instance, this week's Parsha, Bahar B'chukotai. Now, Ari and Jack Goldberg and Carly Love, who are becoming B'nai Mitzvah this weekend, can tell you as well as I can, who wrote my rabbinic thesis on this Parsha, that a sabbatical year for crops and slaves is not especially relevant to those of us living in suburban Atlanta in the year 2021. First of all, the sabbatical year only applied to Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. Then it makes little to no economic or agricultural sense to run a farm that relies on miracles happening every 7 years. And if the miracle does happen every 7 years, I don't think we would call it a miracle anymore. It's something like schedule. If only we knew how to understand the world through the lens of this Torah portion, we would have a near impossible challenge to meet. If we only were looking from the inside out, looking at our world, we wouldn't understand why crops don't magically grow twice their yield in the 6th year of every planting cycle, and why we don't, after 50 years, release all of our employees and allow them to go free. Instead, we give added meaning to this Parsha and all of our sacred scriptures by seeing them through our own experiences. On October 17th, 1920, the opening day of another great German word, the Freies Jüdisches Lehrhaus, I had to practice that one. The other one I knew much better. Rosenzweig said this: "There is no one today who is not alienated or who does not contain within himself some small fraction of alienation. All of us to whom Judaism, to whom being a Jew has again become the pivot point of our lives. And I know that in saying this here, I am not speaking for myself alone," still his words. "We all know that in being Jews, we must not give up anything, not renounce anything, but lead everything back to Judaism, from the periphery back to the center, from the outside in. It's not a matter of apologetics, but rather finding the way back to the heart of our life, and of being confident that this is the heart, that this is a Jewish heart, because we are Jews." The Lehrhaus was famous for having instructors from all walks of life. Actually, it was most notable because rabbis were actually not the teachers in this Lehrhaus. You would, if you walked into this expecting to find a rabbi as the person at the head of the classroom, you would be totally lost. Instead, the teachers were chemists. They were journalists. They were lawyers, bankers, musicians, artists of all kinds. They might be school teachers, but they were not because they were eminently qualified to teach Judaism. Rather, it was because their immeasurable lived experiences is what gave Torah and everyone else so much meaning from studying together. This process of learning and teaching demands something earnest because we have to bring our truest self. If we are supposed to truly learn and teach Torah, as the heart of our Yiddish neshama, our Jewish souls, yearn to go back to the center, then we have to bring all of our life to Torah so that the two can live together. This endeavor, approaching Torah from each of our unique perspectives, like the planets looking toward the sun, creates a living, breathing Judaism that grows and evolves with time. This Shabbat, we have the blessing and the honor to feature two such Jews, young Jewish scholars at Temple Emanu-El. Two teens who have engaged in Jewish learning and with the community of Temple Emanu-El, Ben and Leah, about whom you'll hear much more later in our service, exemplify serious academic pursuits and serious commitments to their Judaism. You can nod. You know it. It's true. It's all right. These two scholars are examples of the three most important pursuits in a Jewish community: to pursue justice, to raise many students, and to make a fence around the Torah. These goals, which were written by our sages 2,000 years ago, are as timely and timeless today as they were 2 millennia ago. When it comes to raising good Jews at Temple Emanu-El, we live by these words. Our success is measured less by the numbers of tuchuses in the seats and more by the children that we have raised to become good human beings with a Yiddish neshama, a Jewish soul. If we have raised many students, we will live to see justice fulfilled by the generations that follow and Torah upheld in the hearts and in the homes of our communities. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, friends, I'll invite you to hold all of those words and to rise for our Amidah, which can be found on page 166.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mori Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Ata L'Hachayot Hakol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol. Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kedoshim B'chol Yom Yahalucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Take a few moments for silent prayer and meditation. And when you have completed those prayers, we invite you to please be seated. tasim me'olam. Page 178. Rahava Yisrael amcha tasim me'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rahava Yisrael amcha tasim me'olam. Shalom rahava Yisrael amcha tasim me'olam.
It always feels like there is something special always going on in the Jewish year. There's never, except for maybe 1 month where nothing happens, the month of Cheshvan after High Holy Days, which is, I guess, still something if nothing is taking place.
It's bitter.
Yeah, it's bitter. But there's always something going on. In this time of year, in the Jewish calendar, we are counting. And we always seem to be counting towards something. Now we are not counting towards the end of school, but we are counting towards the holiday of Shavuot, which means we are counting the Omer. And so, it is a mitzvah, it is a commandment to count the Omer each and every night as we move our way closer to Shavuot. And there are 49 days, 7 weeks in the Omer, and so we are on the 41st day. And so the counting of the Omer looks like this. It's on page 570, if you want to join with me. And if you want to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer, then you will say the Hebrew together with me on page
Or
500.
amen. You can say amen.
And what's that? You can say amen as well. Hineni mutzan umezuman lekayem mitzvah aseh shel sfirat haomer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who house us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. And the date is Hayom Arba'im ve'echat Yom Shehem Chamisha Shavuot ve'shisha Yamim LaOmer. Today is the 41st day, which is 5 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. Shavuot is coming soon.
That's right. Amen. All right, so it is my pleasure to welcome forward our temple president, and who will speak on behalf of our board of trustees to share a few announcements.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
It
shalom.
is equally lovely to see real faces, and we are delighted to have you here. Let me make sure that everybody knows that the building is now open. So the rabbis are keeping office hours, the staff is here most of the time. We are wearing masks inside when we're together. When there is an opportunity to have classes outside, we're doing the classes on our new Schiffer Terrace Chapel. When the weather's not okay outside, we're doing them inside but spread apart. So I encourage you, if you have not come by, we've done a lot of work to the building while everybody's been gone. We invite you to come and see all the work that we've done, interact face-to-face with our clergy and with each other, and get back into the habit of being a community in the same room rather than virtually. So with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you so much.
Shalom. All right.
Your
So-
mic's off.
No, now it's on.
Oh, it's on?
Yeah.
You sure?
100% sure.
There you go.
Yeah. So now is the time in our service where we get to share some of those good things going on in our lives. They could be little things like you hit all green lights on the way to work, school, synagogue, or it could be great big things like birthdays, anniversaries. You had something amazing happen to you at some place where you were. So if you have something to share, put up your hand, stand up, and we'll repeat it for everyone who's watching online, but tell everyone nice and loud and proud here any good things, big or small, that happened to you. Yes, Julie. Your dog's third birthday.
That's a big...
Your daughter. Oh, okay. I thought, okay. I was like, fur kids are very important, but. Oh, very nice. Mazel tov. Rabbi Rachel, anything for you?
Oh, yeah, weekly Zohara update.
Okay.
She's in the 12th percentile, friends. Very exciting. So she had great weight gain this week, which is a big deal for her. And she's doing awesome. She's doing great. Anything for you?
I am in my 4th week of taking art classes online, that I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone. And I found an online class through the Rhode Island School of Design. And so I'm doing a 6-week course, and it's definitely outside of my comfort zone, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm enjoying that learning process.
Awesome. And friends, I hope you are sharing in the Facebook feed all of the wonderful things going on in your life. And I miss somebody. I see fingers. Yes, Rosie.
Yes, Razi.
No. Serenity's graduating elementary school. We're excited too. All right, friends. So as you may know, this is the Dick Wilson Scholarship Shabbat. And so I have a few words on behalf of Hilda Wilson, who is, a loved member of Temple Emanu-El and the wife of Dick Wilson of blessed memory. And she wanted to be sure that I wish you, Ben, and you, Leah, a mazel tov. And she specifically said, say congratulations to y'all. That's what she wanted me to say. So I've said it. And a little bit, though, about Dick Wilson. So this scholarship in his memory, it's all about the power of being a part of a Jewish community. So Dick Wilson moved from the very Jewish New York, where he could get anything Jewish he needed at any time, to Valdosta, Georgia. And not only did he feel the culture shock there, but he truly realized the importance of being a part of community and Jewish community when he started to really miss it. And so in his honor, this scholarship has been awarded by the committee through a blind application process to 2 wonderful seniors for their involvement in Jewish life at Temple Emanu-El. So Ben Regels and Leah Weiss, if you guys will come on up over towards Rabbi Max. We have some lovely little, what are these called? Certificates. Thank you. We have these lovely little certificates to share with you. And we have a few words to say about you. So don't go away. Hold on, we'll put our mask on so we can get a little closer. So Leah is getting ready to head off to William and Mary and St. Andrews. And Ben is going to our favorite city to attend the University of Cincinnati. And the few little things that I want to share about them is that you guys are such an embodiment of what Dick Wilson was looking for, and that was to be community builders. And Ben, you're going to change the world and invent some robot that I don't know how it works, and it's going to solve a really big problem, and I really look forward to reading about you in those scientific papers. And Leah, you're going to take on the political world, and you're going to be rallying the troops for all the causes that you care so much about. And you've given, both of you, so much to Temple Emanu-El, and I'll let Rabbi Max speak a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, it's loud.
It's too loud in there.
It's too loud in there. First of all, I'm just going to miss you both. It's been really great having you around for 4 years, for the 4 years that we've been here, seeing you as freshmen and now as seniors going off, and to watch how the two of you individually have just grown as responsible Jewish teens and have been so important to our community. You will leave a big void behind in your absence, and I only hope that you come back and you fill that when you have breaks, and that you come say hi, and that you're not strangers, because we will miss you a whole lot.
So for all of these things that we've shared today, from birthdays to scholarships and heading off on your own, we will join together in words of Shehechianu. If you'd like them, they are on page 648. Stay up here, and you can sit down.
Stay up here for Shehechianu, and then you sit down.
Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kimanu v'hegianu Lazman hazeh Amen.
you're really tingled. You got it? Nope. There you go.
Getting ready to leave the house involves a lot more things than it used to. And now we have the microphones with the masks. All right. So in our privilege of being a community together who celebrates wonderful occasions, it's also important and vital that as a community we are there to support one another in times of weakness, when we need strength, in times of sickness, when we need health and healing. And in our community, we are praying for the healing of David Lombroso and Brett Samsky, Meir Ben Rachmiel Vedina, Kayla Sora Bat Chana, Andy Rush, Yeda Bat Yosef Lev V'Miriam, Steve Backman, Tara Cutler, William Friedman, Lisa Salonik, Hannah Hazen, Gavriel Ben Alisheva Chana, Mark Wilcox, Ken Schiffer, Howard Ackerman, Ludmilla Kovin, and Peggy Steger. If you are praying for the healing of a loved one, I invite you to please say their name aloud or in your heart as my hand passes over you. And for everyone joining us online, to please add their names to the feed so that we can all support one another in this time of healing. We join together in Misha Berach, rising as a community and having somebody to put your hands next to and around, hold hands or holding shoulders. We join together in these words on page 371.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Friends, we will remain standing as we sanctify Shabbat with Kiddush, found on page 123. Since you're holding it, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. Wait, now I need the words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kiddashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat, Shabbat Shalom.
And we will begin to conclude our service now with Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 586. Aleinu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol, La'teit Gedula Liotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoyer Haratzot,
Velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Give her a prayer book. We'll turn to page 500. And 94. Page 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. And friends, on this Shabbat, as we remember those who have died in recent weeks and in years past, we think especially of the Dale family, who are in a period of Shiv'ah for Robert Dale, and the Gudelmans, who are in a period of Shloshim for Florence Weinberg. And on this Shabbat, the family is observing a yahrzeit for Joseph M. Bush, Joyce Ehrenberg, Lynn Elster, Bernard Fisher, Sam Foreman, Sandra Goldberg, Michael Gruskin, Leon Hires, Bernard Holland, Sandra Kaplan, David Levine, Philip Linsenberg, Linda Lindy, Isidore Losman, Marlene Marcus, Louis
Mazescu.
Thank you. That's our family. Louis Mazescu, Anne Mazescu Cantor, Arlene Rosenthal, Samuel Roth, Charles Satloff, Herbert H. Schiff, William Schrage, Esther Seigel, Marvin Simon, Jeanette Simlak, Marilyn Sonnenschein, Harvey Stein, Jeffrey Tolk, Ira Cole Walsey, Franklin Weinberg, Leon Weinstock, Joseph Weiss, Larry Winsberg, and Nathan Zelizer. If you are in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days mourning the loss of a loved one, please rise in your place. If you are in the first year, Yud Bet, mourning the loss of a loved one, we invite you to please rise now in your space. If on this Shabbat you are observing a yahrzeit, a death anniversary of a loved one, we invite you to please rise now in your space. And if it is your custom to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, as it is here at Temple Emanu-El, we do so now, Kaddish Yatom, page 598. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemeid kudusha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, Amen.
It's actually fitting because that's the Spanish-Portuguese version of Osei Shalom. And our closing song, which we couldn't really decide on, but we really wanted to do Adon Olam. We couldn't decide on the tune. We landed on the French Sephardic, which is Spanish-Portuguese. And so we're going to sing Adon Olam on page 625.
Stanzas, verses 1, 2, and the last one.
Yeah, 5.
5.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivrach le'et nasa b'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh Vehu yeh betifara, vehu yeh betifara, v'yado avkid ruchi, ve'et ishan ve'aira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira, Adonai li velo ira.
Cantor Desnick, we miss you being able to sing that for us. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.